Hello, everybody, and welcome to another amazing episode of Keever's Place, the Keever Murdaugh Show and Podcast. First of all, I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, and we hope that you have a joyous and a safe holiday season as you spend time with your lovely family. But tonight, let's dive into this show on tonight, because this is another amazing episode to pretty much introduce and bring light to It's Time to Go Deep Summit. And tonight, I'm super excited because when I tell you I have premier VIP women bosses speakers in the house tonight, that's exactly what we have. And they are some of the phenomenal speakers that are going to be bringing advice, bringing knowledge, bringing education to you at this free summit. And it's called, again, It's Time to Go Deep Summit. That's going to be held January the 13th through the 15th of 2022. So you know what we do every Thursday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and tonight is no different. So go ahead and grab your favorite drink, make yourself comfortable, sit back and enjoy the ride, because you're finally at home at Keever's Place. So when we come back, we will introduce you to our VIP speaker. So don't go anywhere. Stay tuned.
Welcome to Keever's Place, the Keever Murdaugh Show and Podcast. We hope that by the end of our show, you're left feeling empowered, motivated, and connected. So come on in the room, grab your favorite drink, sit back, and enjoy the ride, because you're finally at home at Keever's Place. Now give it up for our host and producer, Coach Keever Murdaugh.
Yes, welcome back to Keever's Place, the Keever Murdaugh Show and Podcast. So as I stated before our introduction, when I say I have some dynamic powerhouse women bosses in the place tonight, we're going to introduce you to them, and we're going to learn more about them business-wise, and we're going to try to get a little bit personal too, okay? Don't hold me to that, all right? So let's go ahead and introduce you to our guests on tonight. So our first guest we're going to bring to our virtual studio is Dr. Shakisha Heilig. Welcome, Queen.
Hello, how are you doing? Thank you so much for having me.
You are so welcome. I'm super excited to have you. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Awesome. Thank you.
The next queen we're going to bring in is Miss Jessica Toodle. Welcome to Keever's Place. How are you?
I am fantastic. How are you?
I am glad you're here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. The next queen we're going to bring in is Miss Jj Conway. Welcome, Miss JJ.
Hey.
How are you?
Ooh, anytime I can be around this collection of boss ladies, I'm just in heaven.
Right. I'm so excited. We're going to dive into it in just a minute. But yes, I'm so glad to have you all. The next queen we're going to bring in is Miss Q Finley. Welcome, Miss Q. How are you?
Doing exceptionally well. How are you doing?
I am glad you're here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Awesome.
And last but not least, Miss Kimberly Scroggins. Welcome to Keever's Place.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone.
So, like I said, we have some dynamics women on our panel tonight, and they pretty much go from being an inspirational speakers, being just leading the forefront as far as women empowerment. So I want to talk to you ladies a little bit about your businesses, and then we're going to dive into how you actually got in the business that you're currently in. So Dr. Sakeisha Hylick, tell us a little bit more about your business or your entrepreneurship.
Wow, that's a loaded question. I'm retired actually from healthcare. I was a pharmacist for almost 20 years, and life happened. I got sick a few years ago and could not return to my plan A. And God opened the door of opportunity for me to step full time into my true passion, which is just working with couples and then opening my own business to be able to live life on my own terms and have a greater quality of life, to be able to show up and be there for my family. So we've just been, focusing on helping couples, work on their finances, be able to manage and develop a strong marriage while they're building those successful businesses and building generational wealth. So that is what my focus has been.
I love that. And I'm going to ask you, because sometimes I feel like God calls us before we actually yield or understand the calling. So I know that you just said you got sick and that kind of pushed you into your calling. But do you kind of feel like God was calling you before that moment of illness?
You know what? God had been working on me about that, but I was one of those stubborn ones where when God says, it's when he starts to let you know it's your time and your season is about up at your job. How many of you know if he says, I'm ready for you to walk away from a 6-figure job, that's when you say, oh no, that's not you talking to me, God. So if I walk away from this 6-figure job, I need to know the plan that he had in place. And because he hadn't revealed it to me, I was one of those hard-headed ones like, no, God, you're going to have to show me. So it was a passion of my heart, and it just encouraged me to exercise my faith, to just take it to another level. And that's what I've been doing for a couple of years. And I'm just excited. God has opened many doors, and it just increases my faith. He just blows my mind every time.
Yeah. And I definitely saw the head nods. I have 2 hands raised, and it's funny because God has never failed us, right? And he has always equipped us with exactly what we need. But sometimes it's that human nature, Lord. We want to see it before we can fully believe it. So
absolutely.
Awesome. So Miss Jessica, tell us a little bit more about your business and what actually kind of propelled you into what you're doing today.
Well, of course, my name is Jessica Toodle. I always start off that way to get the nervousness off. But I am a network marketer in the business of travel. I chose that opportunity to simply sell travel agencies because working a 9-to-5, I was just living life and I did not have a lifestyle. So once I, took off the hat of the 9-to-5 mindset, I was able to raise my children. And that's what God puts me here to do, is to be an amazing mother. And so an opportunity was shared with me, and they completely changed my life. Now, life is what I live. Lifestyle is what I want. But lifestyle is definitely what I have now within this opportunity. Travel is always been a passion of my own, of myself and my family. But to be able to make income from travel and selling travel agencies, it just opened up a world of opportunity, as well as I have so many different connections now. Oh my goodness. Like, connections are everything. So it just opened up a whole nother world for me. And now I'm here. I'm excited. I'm on fire. I'm ready to help and empower other individuals like myself.
I respect your field so much because I feel like that is I kind of feel like travel goes right in a line with self-care, right? Because too many times we get so wrapped up in just that rat race of the 9-to-5 to where, most of us as women, we really don't take that time out to make sure that we are good. And for me, traveling does that. It just kind of puts me in that mind space of being a little selfish, and that's okay to be selfish when you're really taking care of yourself and getting that mental rest break that you need. So I truly respect your craft. Awesome.
Thank you.
Miss Jj Conway, we're going to move down to you. Tell our viewing audience a little bit more about your business and how you got started.
I can't wait to tell you, but first I want to give Jessica a shout out, because anybody that could turn around and make a successful travel business during a pandemic, whoo, you got my respect.
Okay.
So what motivated me to
Definitely.
start my business, and I educate people to help them build wealth and dump debt. What got me started was a nasty divorce that ended up with over $800,000 of debt, and trying to figure out how I was going to make a life. Now I had the 6-figure job, but I had 6-figure debt and almost 7-figure debt, and so it was a very humbling time. And what really pushed me out the door to become a full-time entrepreneur and stay-at-home mom was being in the military, being active duty military, and had dropped my retirement papers because my family was separated. They were in another state. My kids were in another state. And, at one time I'm going through in prayer, and it's like the Lord was like, the only thing that's keeping you from your family is you and your desire to earn more money before you retire. But you really have enough. And I sat down and looked at my investments, my real estate, and all the things that I had. And it was like, well, I won't be buying any red bottom shoes tomorrow, but we can do this thing. And so I went ahead and filed on 6 February 2020, I filed my retirement request with the military. And as y'all know, a month later, the pandemic was in full swing, and everybody else who was supposed to retire from the military was withdrawing their paperwork left and right. But one thing that I can say is that I was unwavering that the Lord had spoken to me, and he had given me a path forward. And I didn't understand how. I didn't see where the money was going to come from, because I don't know how you're going to make all that money as a public speaker, professional speaker, in a pandemic when no one's traveling anymore. But I trusted the Lord, and I'm going to tell you, my family has gone lack for nothing. We have had a wonderful quality of life. And the difference in my children, now that I live life, I forget if it was Dr. Sakeisha or Jessica, or maybe both, but living life on my terms and putting what's best for my family, and having the time, the finances, and the ability to put my family first. It has made all the difference, and I'm just so happy.
Beautiful. And listen, I met your son very, very briefly. And what I can say is that he is such a well-rounded, mannerable, respectable young man. And it's one thing that you can't get back is time. So kudos to you for just making that move that was beneficial to your family. And I can't speak for your other children because I haven't met them, but Mom, that son that I met, a remarkable, remarkable young man.
Thank you.
You are so welcome. Miss Q Finley, tell us more about your business and what actually propelled you to do what you are doing now.
Yeah, certainly. So, I will say that there are definitely commonalities and threads of all of the stories, even mine. And one thing that I can share is, some people walk into purpose and others are pushed into purpose. I will be the one that got pushed. But I am so grateful to God for the push to get in position. Because it's been absolutely amazing. So earlier this year, my husband and I started a business consulting firm. So we work with nonprofits and for-profits. And I am a former executive director and president and CEO, COO, and director of development in the nonprofit space. And so I bring all that love for the space to what I do. And we especially love helping BIPOC-led nonprofit and for-profit organizations position themselves to advance their mission, do the transformative work that they do with their clients, and be able to grow to scale. So that's who we are. That's what we do. And I'm so grateful to God for being in this position right now. I sing the same tune about being a mom. So I have 3 girls, 6, 11, and 13. So having the opportunity to be more present, to be in their lives at this time it has been phenomenal. So I'm very grateful to God for that.
Amazing. And those are all impressionable ages right now where I feel like when they're at
Yes.
those ages, they really need mom because they're really trying to kind of figure out who they are. They're trying to find their own identity.
Yes.
And mom of these teens and tweens, I just want to encourage you to just hang in there and stay the course because I promise you, I have a 22-year-old now and a 19-year-old, and they will come back and thank you later. So they may fight you now, but they will come back and thank you later. So just stay the course and hang in there because I know that with God, nothing is impossible. So, and just looking at you ladies, I know your children are just phenomenal young adults. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
And last but not least, Miss Kimberly Scroggins, we're going to ask you that same question before we move on. What actually prepared you to be in the field that you're currently in right now?
Sure. I am actually not an entrepreneur yet, but I think my current position as Director of Business Services for a local nonprofit is certainly setting me up for that. And like you ladies, I was going through a lot of things in my life. I had been on my job for 10 years, my old job, could do my job in my sleep, in the midst of a divorce and trying to do some other things. And I was on my way to work and I was saying, Lord, if this is what I'm supposed to do, because I kept saying I was going to quit, give me a sign. I had went and applied for a townhouse and had to go to work to send paperwork. And when I got there, they said, your address is before I sent anything. That was my sign. 2:00 the same day, they had my letter of resignation. And I entered the nonprofit working with people with disabilities. They're entry level as a job developer, just trying to do something different. A year and a half, I was promoted to director. My staff has grown, placements have grown, the relationships have grown. So just trying to stay true. And I do really feel like now, not only am I just working, but I'm working with a purpose.
I love that. Let me just ask you this because I have within my family on my father's side, we have quite a few disabilities. So what are some of those disparities that you face working with that particular community that you see on a regular basis?
Sure. One of the biggest things is because I do employment for people with disabilities. So just, you go in and you talk to business owners and HR and their DEI folks, and you see these wonderful statements that are just statements. And I always challenge them, what are you doing? What are your hiring practices? I know you check your box for women. I know you check your box for, people of other ethnicities. But what are you doing when it comes to hiring people with disabilities? And so it's a lot of education because they think alternative workforce, so they automatically think about returning citizens and things like that. And they always overlook people with disabilities. Even when I'm at DEI seminars and they talk about everything else, I think sometimes they hate to see me come because I'm raising my hand saying, how are we having a conversation about diversity, equity, and inclusion, but you haven't mentioned people with disabilities?
Mm-hmm. So. Love that. Awesome. Well, let's shift gears a little bit because I want to definitely combine everybody into this part of the conversation. So we are definitely women with a mission. We have careers, we have businesses, but I want to know, because I truly believe there are some out there that may be struggling with how do we balance it all, right? We have families, we're raising children, we're running our businesses. So how do you find balance to make sure that you don't drop the ball, whether that's in your personal life, dealing with your children or your businesses? So what advice can you give the next woman on how you find that balance? We'll start with Dr. Sakeisha.
That's an interesting question. That's something that I struggled with for a long time. I could handle lots at my job, but when I came home, it was a totally different thing. And what I had to learn was that I had to prioritize things. And that for me, I had to learn and look at the big picture, because I focused a lot on wanting to be able to provide for the children, wanting to make sure they weren't lacking anything, but they were lacking my presence. They were lacking my undivided attention. So I had to learn to prioritize, which meant saying no. I couldn't say yes to everybody, and I had to be okay with that. So learning to prioritize my family and learning to use those two little letters, it literally saved my life, saved my marriage, because I had to learn to be able to say no to certain things and not overcommit. You want to be there for everybody, but if you're showing up for everybody, but your family or your spouse is the last on your to-do list, then, it wasn't worth it. So I had to learn to make those changes.
Anybody else?
And I'll jump in. I think for me, and again, it's not to take anything from my mom. My mom worked hard, but with working so hard, being a young mom, a lot of times it was my grandmom and my aunts that were there for me. And I just knew when I had children that I wanted to be there. And I made no apologies at work. If my kids had something to do, I was going to be there. I wasn't going to miss anything. And I just made that decision. And I missed so many opportunities to go away with my cousins and my family because my son played football. And I can tell you, he just graduated from college yesterday. I've probably missed four games, not including college, because once they start traveling like that, but I just said I needed to be there. My kids and my family didn't know that I was their biggest cheerleader and they could count on me, then I'm failing them, and I refuse to do that.
Yeah.
Love that. Yeah. Anybody else wanted to jump in?
I would love to jump. Oh, go ahead, Jessica.
Oh no, I don't want to take your shine. But when it comes to balancing, it's tough. But one thing that I could say that if I did not use it, I would be in a total different place. Using a schedule and a planner, I write down minute for minute what I need to take care of, because you get overconsumed and your mind is here, there, you gotta go here, and of course, just like the other young lady said, talked about saying no. That was tough for me. But now sometimes I have to check myself, like, wait, let me think about it before I say no, because I'm kind of quick to jump to it now. But when it comes to scheduling and prioritizing, that's everything.
But it's such a beautiful thing once you get to the point to where you can comfortably say no, because as being women, we're not really taught to do that. We're supposed to be everything to everybody. But when you can learn that art of saying no, it's so liberating. Jj, you wanted to add?
I absolutely liberating. And I think for me, the question you started out with was, how do we keep from dropping any of those multiple balls that we're all juggling as moms? And I have found that for me, that any time that I'm overwhelmed, it's really because I'm under purposed and I'm not making decisions according to my purpose. And so then I have to reset. But the other thing that I've had to become more comfortable with is trusting the process and understanding that sometimes a ball will drop. And most of the time, a ball that does drop is a ball I shouldn't even have put into play in the first place. And sometimes it's if I'm trusting the process and I'm trusting that I'm being led and guided to add value to people and build this business and build my family, if I'm trusting that process, then I have to trust that an opportunity that I say no to because it impedes on football, or if it's an opportunity that impedes on my husband, whatever it is, that if it's really for me, it's going to come back around. And to the point of the football, I was going through and editing podcasts today, and one of mine that my son recorded with me a year ago that I didn't post yet, just because the sound quality wasn't great. His number one request of me as a mom was, would you please go to all of my games? And I tell you, my one had game on Friday, Thursdays, one had game on Fridays. My husband's games were on Fridays. My little one had Saturdays. And then of course the boys all want to watch on Sundays, right? So my whole calendar, I had to block off on my phone so people couldn't schedule during football games. And there are several high-level Air Force meetings for diversity and inclusion that I, no kidding, facilitated, including one this past Friday, because I was at that championship game when my son won that state championships, because they needed me to be there.
Absolutely.
And so for me, it was like, okay, if there's something that I am going to make a commitment to, I'm going to be very clear where my commitment is: God first, family second, and then my business. And so I make my decisions through that lens. And when I don't make decisions through that lens, when I get all excited about, oh, I get to be on this show, or oh, I get to do that, and I start cramming too much in, thinking I can make it work, some of those balls will fall to the ground. And for me, those are wake-up calls to let me realign and get back in line with what I'm doing. But I find that scheduling the time, it works wonders for me, and also blocking off the time. It changed my children's attitude when I blocked off the school pickup line. Now, y'all know that school pickup line is 2 hours of our life that we never get back. But to them, it made a huge difference that they didn't have to come into the car and have me on a call trying to client. You know how we do, try to get in a client call or a little discovery call over here or there. No, it made a huge difference for them to see that they were in my phone on the schedule as a priority that no one could schedule in their time.
I love that. And these are moments where you cannot get back. So it's very important, especially when you have children at home and you're still actively raising them. It is very important for them to know that they are a priority in your life. So that's super important. Q, we haven't heard from you yet. Anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, well, I will just say this year, we've been doing quite a bit of quarantining. And with that, a friend of mine recommended that, we do family time every night, to make this something kind of special for the kids. And I will tell you, I was juggling, between clients and family. But whenever we started family time, I put every client on pause. So that I could make the time, even if that meant I had to go back to that client late to get the work done, because the value was for us to have that time together, and again, to make my family the priority. So I can't tell you that I'm always perfect with that, and every day, I'm still learning that and scheduling and working through it. But definitely in this season, I am working to make those deposits in my children and my family. And it really feels good to have my family as the priority. So that's my recommendation. And I'm kind of like JJ. If the ball drops, that's a locator for me. That's something that I need to be working on and just dealing with and continuing to grow, and then reprioritizing every time we see there might be a little bit of imbalance that tries to sneak in there, because we are women that probably have big hearts. I know I do. But there are times when I just have to say, okay, God, I'm not you and I'm not Superwoman. So I'm gonna have to lay this one at the throne and give you this one. Because I can only do so much. And I'm really grateful that even God gives us healthy boundaries.
Yeah.
I love that. We have Dr. Takima Dorsey watching and definitely in the house tonight. She is the visionary for this wonderful summit. It's Time to Go Deep Summit. So thank you so much, Dr. Dorsey. She said every great discussion and what a dynamic lineup tonight. Yes, they are definitely powerhouses. Miss Patina Kirkendall is also in the house, and she just agreed with everything you just said, Q. So yes, wonderful. All right, so let's shift gears because I am a firm believer. Oh, you are so welcome. I'm a firm believer that we do not go through circumstances for ourselves, and I believe that God allow us to have these dynamic experiences. And when I say dynamic, I mean some may be traumatic, some may be, designed to break you or bring you down. But I truly believe that if God brings you to it, He will bring you through it. And there's a lesson in every situation. So I want to ask you, for those, especially women, because we are talking to powerhouse women. So for the woman who may be going through a situation right now and may not have the faith to believe that she's in this moment as a test, so she can come out with her testimony in place, and she can reach back and grab the next sister's hand and guide them through it. So what advice would you give that sister who may be in the crooks and the crannies right now, who can't see beyond what she is going through? What advice would you give that queen right now to encourage her to keep pushing through?
Wow.
Miss Kim.
Oh, wow. I would just say, and just given my journey and getting to where I am now, that you have to realize everybody is not meant to travel with you. Some people are meant to be temporary, and it's okay. It may hurt, but it's okay. And, I'll even share, my ex-husband passed away 2 years ago, and his aunt, she kind of looked at me in disbelief when I said the best thing we could have done for each other is our divorce. Going through it, we probably didn't look at it that way. But, once we parted ways and we were able to co-parent, I knew my journey was so much greater, and he wasn't designed to go with me, and I had to be okay with that. And the same thing, he was free to live his life. So it's okay, and it hurts, but you can get through it. You have to stay focused.
Yeah.
Exactly. Dr. Sakeisha.
Well, I was thinking that about the fact that the things that we go through, a lot of them is not for us, it's for the people that we're called to serve. We're going to go through tests and trials and challenges, and that you're going to come out stronger. And then you'll be able to use that same information, that same things you learned from it, to reach back and pull somebody else out. So though it's uncomfortable what you're going through right now, and a lot of times we're like, God, this is not fair. Why am I going through this? But He gives His toughest battles to His strongest soldiers. He knows what's on the inside of you. He knows how you're going to take that situation, turn those lemons into lemonade. And although it may be frustrating and discouraging, keep pressing. Don't give up. Do not give up. This is a season in your life. When we go through those seasons, remember, it's not going to stay that way. It is going to change. So just be mindful to keep pressing. And it's a lot of times, instead of thinking, why me? Okay, God, what am I learning from this? And that's what keeps me encouraged. Okay, God, what do you want me to learn from this? Because the enemy doesn't always give up very easily. Sometimes he brings those same tests and challenges around, and then it's like, okay, you got me with that last time, maybe 2 or 3 times, but you know what? I'm on to you now. You're not going to get me with this anymore. Then you're more equipped to handle it. And then your sister that's on your left or right that's struggling with this, like, oh no, I've got you. Come on, let me pull you, help you get through it. So I'm not saying it's super easy, but I am saying that it's worth it to keep pressing and not to give up.
Exactly. Yeah. JJ?
I actually had an interesting discussion with someone the other day who asked me if I could go back and change something that happened to me in the last 10 years, what would it be? And I started to say, well, I already know what I would change. I would change coming home from a military trip to find my household stuff thrown out and divorce papers in my face with $800-something of debt attached to it, right? And as soon as I began to say all of that, as soon as I was forming the thoughts in my mind, it occurred to me that, well, that wasn't a very pleasant time of my life, but that large amount of debt lit a fire underneath me to be able to do something about it before I retired from the Air Force. And, if I hadn't had that fire lit under my behind, I'd probably be like so many other people, still stuck in this job that was a good government job, a good 6-figure job, making good money, doing good work, and having, a normal amount of this or that to deal with financially. I would never be in the position where I am now, where I don't have to work and I only work when I want to work and I get to spend time with my children and travel with my family. Because the skills that I had to learn to take my finances to the next level, they don't come from just a humdrum life. And I needed to get the education of how do you attack this much debt with this much time left. And so when you're going through it right now, and you're going to get a lot more encouragement in the summit, but when you're going through these kinds of things right now and you don't understand how it's going to work out, I want to encourage you to trust the process and trust the one who's holding your hand, that it is going to work out one way or another. And when you look back, you'll see that you have been equipped not only to help others behind you, but to also create the life that you dream of and to walk in the calling that's been given to you and to make a difference in your family. It's all coming. So I encourage anybody who's going through right now watching this, hold on and stay the course and do the best that you can do until you learn something better, and then do that. And you will make it. I promise you, you will.
Woo! This is why you do not want to miss this summit. And we're going to talk about this summit in a little bit. You ladies got me fired up already. Yes. Q, anything you want to add to that? Beautiful.
Yeah. This just rings so true with some of my background, some of my experiences. But what I have to say is forgive. You do not want to get bitter in this process. There is joy on the other side. God will give beauty for ashes. Q is a living witness. Take the beginning of my year to the end of it. So I moved from, not having a job to having a business to having multiple companies. So if you need someone to look at, you can look at me. I'm sure you can look at the other women too, but forgive. If you have gone through something traumatic, the best way, and even coming out of my mental health background as a social worker, you need to forgive so that you don't stay stuck in that. Because sometimes we replay and replay and replay. Your life is not meant for you to stay stuck. You got to keep moving forward. So the fight sometimes is in just the forgiveness and the laying down of whatever happened and embracing the fact that you can value yourself, love yourself, know who you are. Sometimes it's not the words that other people speak to you, it's the ones that you speak to yourself. Now, you done took me to church on this question right here. And what I want to say to you is move forward, and then let God fight your battles. You don't have to fight every battle. Because trust me, when things are said and done, because sometimes we feel like we have to defend ourselves, there is one defending you. All you gotta do is stand your ground, take your position, and keep moving forward. Put your head to your mission and to what you're called to do in those constructive things, and baby, you're gonna come out clean on the other side.
I love it. Miss Jessica.
Oh my goodness. I'm so full right now. You guys just helped me literally. Like I'm like shaking. But I would say to the young woman, to the young man who are stuck, tough times don't last, but tough people do. So any situation that may be hard, it's just gonna be for a moment, but it's gonna pass. But you're just building your character that just that more towards the direction that you need to be as a active member in society, as a Christian man or woman, as a giver of your time and attention. It's gonna pass. Your process, don't allow yourself to punk yourself out of your process, or punk yourself out your promise. But so I took the time to, as these ladies were speaking, I wrote down some things, because this is a personal battle for young people in general. And it's a battle for aspiring entrepreneurs and people who want to be successful. But we have to remember that success is a journey, not a destination. I wish somebody could point me in the direction of where success is, because I'll be running. You know what I mean? But it's a journey. It's definitely a journey. And the last thing I will say, because I wrote down a couple things. Woo! This moved me so much. Stop shrinking yourself to fit places you've outgrown.
Yeah.
Yes.
That circle
I love that
you was in. Why are you still there if that's not where you're trying to go? Don't shrink yourself.
You know what? Let me find my little sound effect. I had to give you the round of applause for that. She said, don't shrink yourself in places you've already outgrown. And let's be honest, we tend to do that so much. We're trying to stay within that same circle of friends. We're trying to move the way people expect us to move. We are afraid to jump when God is clearly pushing us out the plane. He's saying, move. I already have the way prepared for you. What are you so afraid of? But we keep putting ourselves and keeping ourselves in the comfortable because we are afraid to be uncomfortable. And like I tell my patients and my clients all the time, growth comes in the uncomfortable situations. You have to allow yourself that space to grow. But if you don't ever put yourself in a position to experience anything, whether that's good, bad, indifferent, how are you going to grow? And how can you reach back and teach the next person what to do to get to where they need to be? You know, I truly believe that we are here, and all of the women said it best, but Jessica just said it when she said that you have to allow yourself that space, because life is a journey, right? Success is a journey, and we all go through our own journey. So it's very important for you to find your journey, right? Because you can't look at mine. You can't look at Dr. Sakeisha's or anybody else. You have to seek God to find the path that He has outlined for you. Y'all got me fired up. I love it. Dr. Takima said it's called legacy. Yes, you have to find your own legacy. I love it. Anything else before we shift gears?
No.
Beautiful. All right, so I'm gonna dig a little bit deeper, really quick. I want to find out a little bit more personal stuff about you. So, what's your biggest pet peeve? Whether that's in business, personal, I want to know what gets you kind of fired up. Jessica?
Excuses. I hate them. Everybody got them. Excuses, it definitely hinders you. We all have situations. We go through our situations, but those situations is just another way to say it, an excuse for why you can't get to where you need to be. So quit the excuses.
I love it. I love it. Miss Q. Can you hear me, Q?
Not taking ownership. You know, we're going to make mistakes and things are going to happen. But when you try to find other people to project blame, or you don't want to own up to your mistakes and have accountability and progress and grow, I would say that's that's a pet peeve of mine.
I love it. I love it. Miss Kim.
I guess I don't know the exact word to call it, but people that take and have it be in your personal life, your professional life, those people that are constantly depleting you of what you have, but not pouring anything back in. That is, and those are the folks that I will cut them off at the knees, because I need that positive feedback the same way I want to give it. And they drain you of your creativity, they drain you of your energy, and that's not the space I want to operate in.
Mm-hmm. And it's so important to recognize that very early on too. Mm-hmm. And it seemed like the older I get, I'm 43, I'll be 44 in March. Like my patience is this like big now for these people. Like I have no patience for them whatsoever, you know, and you have to get to that point where you are protecting your spirit, you're protecting your, you know, mind, you're protecting your peace. So yeah, I love that. I love that. You got to recognize it and cut it off. Mm-hmm. Beautiful. JJ?
My biggest pet peeve, I will say, is people who are going to keep complaining and complaining and complaining, but they're not going to take any action to change their lives. And don't get me wrong, I understand sometimes we need a good vent session, but when it comes down to it, when you're done venting, it's time to take action. And even if you're not sure the right path, you take an action and you get a result, and then you adapt from there. But especially being a financial planner, I get people that want to pay. Hey, you're going to pay me, I'm going to take it. But you know, not all money is good money. And if I month after month, it's just complaining, and not following the guidelines and the actions that I lay out for you, then, you know, it's time for you to go find you another financial coach, because I need to be around people who are about something. Who we surround ourselves with, that's what we become. And so I make it a very intentional effort to surround myself with people who are about themselves and about their business, kind of like the ladies on this panel.
Right? Love it. Dr. Sakeisha.
I agree with JJ. For me, it's for that people that are like constantly negative and naysayers. Oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. If it's always going to be negative, we can't be around each other. I understand we have those moments or those seasons in our lives that may be challenging, and you have that partner that's going to encourage you. But if you're constantly negative, I'm like, no, let's figure out a way. How can we accomplish it? Instead of saying automatically assuming you can't. Well, why can't we? You know, but if it's the same old thing, I'm like, look, we got to get off this hamster wheel. Let's think of it from a positive perspective. Learn to shift your perspective. What is it that we can do? How can we accomplish this goal? Sometimes we have it look at the entire thing. Okay, let's just focus on step by step. You know, doing little bit at a time instead of focusing on, say, you know, we say we want to lose 50 pounds. All right, let's get the 5 pounds off. Let's celebrate that. Now let's set our next goal. The same thing in your finances. Let's pay this little bit of debt off, and then let's celebrate the next goal. Same thing in your business. You got to find something positive. I'm not saying we walk around with rose-colored glasses on, but this negative all the time and what you can't do. After a while, I'm like, I got to shut it down, because it's like, look, you know, we got goals to achieve. We got things that God wants us to accomplish. Is it going to be challenging? Does it look like, ooh, that's a mountain? But you know what he tells us, we can speak to that mountain. We got to, you know, shift your mindset. You got to use your mouth and stop speaking all those negative things in the atmosphere. Let's use our mouth to uplift it. All right, let's look at the situation. We don't know how to get here. Let's find somebody who can help us get there instead of just saying it can't be done.
Exactly. I love
Yeah.
that. And then it starts with your mindset anyway, because you are what you say you are, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it
Right.
starts with your mindset. And if you're not careful, you can definitely speak curses, and you have the power to speak blessings. So, got to be careful what you say. Exactly. Exactly. Final, ladies, and we will wrap up. I feel like there is definitely some advice. If we had to look back 10 years, 5 years, 20 years, um, what advice would you give your younger self looking back? Any advice you would tell your younger self about today, where you are today? We'll start with Miss Q.
Yeah, my advice to myself would be to always lead with courage. You know, some of the probably epic fails I've had is when I didn't step up to the plate because I was fearful. So I would tell myself to be a woman of courage, even if that meant I had to do it afraid, and build up to that, which I've actually done. So that would be my advice to myself, because I think it takes a lot of courage, especially taking risk as a business owner. It takes a lot of courage being a leader. It definitely takes a lot of courage being a consultant, because sometimes I'm walking in telling people what they don't want to hear. you know, the truth comes to set us free, but we don't always want to hear the truth at times.
Exactly.
And so, it takes a lot of courage to do this, to get up every day, to, be the woman that I'm called to be the woman of God I'm called to be. So I would say right now on this journey, I really believe that I would tell myself, have courage to continue to stand up for, the authenticity of the truth. And, sometimes we can be nice, but that niceness doesn't always liberate people. So, and it's that we speak the truth in love, and we love people ultimately. But sometimes we have to be courageous about that. Sometimes there's things we need to say and not hold back in different spaces. So that would definitely be the advice that I would give to myself, as it is the advice that I give to myself every day now, plus the ladies, the other leaders that I'm around as well.
I love it. I love it. Lead by courage. Miss JJ.
If I could go back and give myself some advice, I think it would be to stop trying to fit in and be normal, and figure out who you were called to be, and find other people who are called to do something great.
Awesome advice. I love that. Miss Kim.
I couldn't have said it better myself, Miss JJ. If I could tell my younger self something, it would be to always be my authentic self, but also to seek people that were already in the position that I wanted to be in. Try ask questions, and try to figure out how they got there. And everybody's path is not designed the same way, but I believe that there's always something that you can learn from everybody around you, good lessons or bad lessons. But find that mentor, find somebody that you trust, find somebody that will keep you uplifted and let you know when you're doing great and let you know when you're not doing so great. But I think we all need that encouragement. We all need that somebody that's been there that can say, I've been there, I've done that, and this is why I'm successful.
I love it. Dr. Sakeisha.
For me, honestly, it would be release myself from other people's opinions. Sometimes we allow fear and what other people would think of us to keep us from stepping into what we're called to do. Fear that we may not measure up to someone else, or that we might be judged. When God is telling you to go left and everybody else is going right, so you're tempted to follow the crowd. So for me, it's releasing that bondage of being held hostage to other people's opinions. If God's telling you to do it, all right, do it. Stop worrying about everybody else. You've got to live your life. They can't live your life for you, be it in business, be it in in relationships, whatever it's got to be, you've got to, live your life. Too many times we haven't stepped out on faith because we're allowing fear and other people's opinions to hold us back. I'll be the first to raise my hands and say I did that for far too long.
Yes. Me too. I love it. And Miss Jessica.
I would say, just like the other lady said, feel the fear and do it anyway. Fear is definitely a strong emotion, and that strong emotion, we handle it differently. Our bodies even handle it differently. And once we get over that hump, get over the anxiety, we can get to our zone, our money zone, our successful zone, our successful mindset. Also, change your circle, change your life.
I love that. I love that.
You're around people who are up to no good, and you're amazing. Change it. Change it up. Get a mentor. That mentor is gonna push you in the direction of where you need to be, and then stay in that place where you need to be. You know what I mean? It's so easy to look left and right and to find other people doing something negative, but when you find that one person, or you find a group of people who's going in that same direction, stick with it.
I love it. And I think you ladies definitely said it all well, but if I had to add one more thing, it would be, don't be afraid to fail. Because I think we look at failure in, whether that's business or whatever, as that's the end, instead of looking at, okay, what can I learn from that experience? So not all failures is set up to crush you. I think sometimes we experience things to teach us and to put us in a position to be better prepared for the next thing. So, and I'm speaking from experience, I had to file bankruptcy and all of that. And that's my truth and that's my story. And it's not something that I'm afraid of, because that was not the end for me. That taught me what I needed to, correct and do better so that I'm not in that position again. So my advice is, do not be afraid to fail, because as long as God grants you breath within your body, there is still a chance. There's still an opportunity, and there's still hope. So don't quit just because things aren't going the way you think they ought to go. It may not be your season just yet, but just like the lady said earlier, do not quit and do not give up, because God will not give up on you. So don't give up on yourself.
Absolutely.
Do you see why you need to be registered for It's Time to Go Deep Summit? I know you have enjoyed these beautiful ladies tonight. I am so full. And like we said, and listen, this is only part of the speakers. This ain't even all the speakers. Y'all think you were in for a treat tonight? Come right back next week, Thursday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, because guess what? We have another group of panelists where we're going to have more in-depth conversations. So you definitely do not want to miss this summit. So I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to do so that you have no excuses. So we're going to take a quick commercial break so that I can play this promo, and we're going to bring you right back so you will know exactly what you need to do to register for the summit. So watch this. Don't go anywhere.
Visionary leader, Dr. Takima Dorsey, presents the It's Time to Go Deep Summit, the #1 international development summit transforming urban markets. The It's Time to Go Deep Summit is not a normal summit. It's a game-changing summit. The mission of the It's Time to Go Deep Summit is to provide personal development and business growth training to nonprofits, small businesses, and entrepreneurs while increasing resources to the urban market. The It's Time to Go Deep Summit is uniquely different because it is the only summit focused on transforming the urban market by providing training resources to leaders and managers so they can become the resources needed in their community, their industry, and themselves. The It's Time to Go Deep Summit speakers are experts in their industries and remain excited to serve, increase greater impact, and to leave the legacy they are destined to do, as did their ancestors. The It's Time to Go Deep Summit goal is to share proven methodology and best practices to current and aspiring leaders and managers for success in business and in life. The It's Time to Go Deep Summit's objective is to assist in the formulation of a blueprint, framework, system, or process for attendees that evoke immediate action. Professional and personal training are ongoing goals needed for positive and transformational growth and development. The It's Time to Go Deep Summit focus is on closing the disparities and barriers that exist by meeting nonprofits, small business owners, and entrepreneurs where they are. The theme of this year's summit is Learn What You Don't Know and Teach What You Do. Grab your free virtual ticket now at www.itstimetogodiepsummit.com.
Hey guys, what's going on? It's your man, Eric Bazzuli. I'm the international commercial Axe body spray star. I've done films. I'm on Amazon Prime right now. And I built my own social network platform. We have 300 million people that we reach on our network, and I'm a man of God. And I'm telling you right now, man, where do you need to be? Oh yeah, that's it. Keever's Place. You gotta go to Keever's Place. You gotta watch Keever's Place. You gotta hang out in Keever's Place. It's about Keever. You hang out in Keever's Place, the easy way.
And welcome back to Keever's Place, the Keever Murdaugh Show and Podcast. All right, so you just watched the promo about It's Time to Go Deep Summit. So I'm going to let you know exactly what you need to do to get registered for this event. It's very simple. All you have to do is go to itstimetogodiepsummit.com. Again, it's timetogodeepsummit.com. It's an absolutely free summit. It will begin on January the 13th and end on January the 15th. You can participate in this summit from the comfort of your home, your office, your mobile device. You don't need any special equipment to be able to watch and engage in this summit. And as you just watch and listen, it's definitely a summit filled with powerful speakers, people that know what they are talking about. They have already walked the walk and they are wanting to share their area of expertise and experiences with you. So definitely log on if you're wanting to take your career to the next level, if you're wanting to find that work-life balance. I'm also one of the speakers. Whatever you are looking for, this summit is going to not only motivate you, because it's too often we attend summits that's motivating, and after that it's like, okay, now what, right? This particular summit is going to motivate you, it's going to empower you, but more importantly, it's going to give you the tools that you need so that you can have tangible items to immediately implement. Create that action plan and get things moving forward in your life, your business, and your career. So definitely go to itstimetogodiepsummit.com. There it is right there. Dr. Takima Dorsey, who is a visionary leader, is also dropping it in the chat. So definitely visit that website, get yourself registered, and get connected. Do it now, today. Okay. Ladies, thank you all so much. It has truly been a pleasure. It's been an honor. I hope you have enjoyed being here. I thoroughly enjoyed having you. And you're welcome back to Keever's Place anytime. I'm looking forward to this summit.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us. It's been amazing. You ladies are amazing.
You guys are amazing. Blessed.
Yes.
Women of God. Love it.
Yes, I am so full. I'm so full. So, ladies and gentlemen, until next Thursday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, come right on back to Keever's Place, the Keever Murdaugh Show and Podcast, because we're doing it all over again with another selection of panelists from It's Time to Go Deep Summit. So I look forward to seeing you next week. Until then, Merry Christmas and peace and blessings to you. Thank you for watching, and good night.
Thank you for watching Keever's Place, the Keever Murdaugh Show and Podcast. Tune in every Thursday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Keever's Place. To be a guest on our show, text the word guest to 803-368-3030 or visit us at tinyurl.com/Keever'sPlace book. And watch us on Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire as we're broadcasting in more than 60 million homes worldwide.